Hello everyone, in today's topic we're going to explore the possibility of existence of a magnetic mountain at the North Pole. The North Pole as we know it today is a barren place, wind-swept ice fields and the occasional polar bear. The concept of north has been an integral part of man's expansion and journeys throughout history. Navigation is made much more possible when one can reference a fixed point. With the use of magnetism and a compass, sailing ships to this day chart courses all over the world. In the process of mastering this technique, science has concluded that magnetism is caused by electromagnetic currents generated from within the Earth, something akin to a giant dynamo. Is this the true origin of the magnetic north phenomena though, or could there be another explanation? Many ancient cultures speak of a great magnetic mountain at the center or top of the earth known as Mount Meru or Sumeru. But is there any recent evidence to support this claim? Let's have a look at this legend. Mount Meru is the sacred five-peaked mountain of Hindu, Jain, and Buddhist cosmology and is considered to be the center of all the physical, metaphysical, and spiritual universes. The dimensions attributed to Mount Meru all references to it being as a part of the cosmic ocean, with several statements that say the sun along with all the planets circle the mountain, make determining its location most difficult according to most scholars. By Wikipedia, of course. The origins of Mount Meru are old and its true meaning lost to the ravages of time. However, researchers like Walt Thornhill of the Thunderbolts Project hypothesized that the sky looked very different during earlier epochs than it does today. Planets such as Jupiter, Venus, Mars, and Mercury were in a completely different configuration than they are today. A sort of planetary alignment persisted in the past. Our own planet was included in this formation, and the electrical discharge passing between worlds was seen by all peoples on Earth. The religions that sprang up during this time were born out of a need to explain and communicate what had been witnessed. The Earth rotating on a central axial shaft, an electrical current of plasma tapering upward like a mountain peak. A time where an electrically energized atmosphere imbued all living beings with health and longevity. A harmonious time for all who dwelt here on Earth. A golden age. Let's have a look at some pictures below. So the Buddhists believe this place exists. Is there any other mention of such a location? Perhaps if we found an European source, this might help to strengthen the case. For that, we turn to Gerardus Mercator, who in his portrait is prominently displaying the North Pole on an atlas. Orontius Phineus, another big name in cartography from the same era, includes Mount Meru on his projection. Very much the same dimensions and layout. A central peak surrounded by water, and beyond that, 4 islands separated by 4 rivers. Let's have a look. So what's going on here, guys? Is this a real place now covered over by frozen ice sheets? Not so long ago, people seemed to know of its existence and had quite accurate charts to show off as well. So what about these magnetic traits? Map historian Chet Van Duzer of Berkeley University has this to say about Mercator's understanding of the North Pole. At the center of the map, and right at the pole, stands a huge black mountain. This mountain was made of Lodestone and was the source of the Earth's magnetic field. The central mountain is surrounded by open water. and then further out by 4 large islands that form a ring around the pole. The largest of these islands, perhaps 700 by 1,100 miles, and they all have high mountains along their southern rims. These islands are separated by 4 large inward flowing rivers, which are aligned as if to the 4 points of the compass, though of course there is no north, east, or west of the North Pole. Every direction from the center is south. Mercator's notes inform us that the waters of the oceans are carried northward to the pole through these rivers with great force, such that no wind could make a ship sail against the current. The waters then disappear into an enormous whirlpool beneath the mountain of the pole and are absorbed into the bowels of the earth. Mercator also tells us that 4-foot-tall pygmies inhabit the island closest to Europe. Mercator describes the mountain as made of lodestone. What exactly is lodestone, though? Lodestone is a naturally magnetized piece of the mineral magnetite. They are naturally occurring magnets which can attract iron. The property of magnetism was first discovered in antiquity through lodestones. Pieces of lodestone suspended so they could turn were the first magnetic compasses, and their importance to early navigation is indicated by the name lodestone, which in Middle English means curse stone or leading stone, from the now obsolete meaning of load as journey, way. Wikipedia source. You can begin to see a consistent theme taking shape here. So it was to my great surprise when, while reading Olaf Jensen's story, The Smoky God or A Voyage to the Inner World, that one passage in particular stood out to me. As this point in his story, Olaf and his father have traveled to the North Pole via fishing boat. They have met a race of giants, and having spent some time learning their language, have now been taken to the capital city. The city of Eden is located in what seems to be a beautiful valley, yet in fact it is on the loftiest mountain plateau of the inner continent, several thousand feet higher than any portion of the surrounding country. It is the most beautiful place I have ever beheld in all my travels. In this elevated garden, all manner of fruits, vines, shrubs, trees, and flowers grow in rocious profusion. In this garden, 4 rivers have their source in a mighty artesian fountain. They divide and flow in 4 directions. This place is called by inhabitants the navel of the earth, or the beginning, the cradle of the human race. The names of the rivers are the Euphrates, the Pison, the Gihon, and the Hiddekel. Olaf Jensen maintained his story was the truth, but no one believed him, and he was committed to an insane asylum on his return to Europe. Here in this passage, Olaf describes a central city on the loftiest mountain plateau of the inner continent. This must be Mount Meru. He then describes 4 great rivers that originate from this central point. The names of the rivers are the Euphrates, the Pison, the Gihon, and the Hiddekel. Count them, folks, that's for rivers. Yeah, maybe Olaf was an avid scholar and had fabricated his story from the same source material I've provided above, or there might actually be a giant magnetic mountain at the North Pole surrounded by 4 islands separated by great rivers. Conclusion. Just to recap, we have an ancient account of a central mountain at the North Pole and very much more recent European maps describing in great detail a central magnetic mountain surrounded by 4 almost symmetrical islands. We have Olaf Jensen supporting these claims, and we have recent cosmological research in the form of the electric universe adding further validity. There is one last thing, however. Lodestone mountains and symmetrically spaced islands are all good and well, but to truly believe that this could be a real place, it does need some type of geological explanation. I mean, nothing like this exists in the known world. Natural geological processes aren't exactly concerned with symmetry, so how could this all have formed? Taking everything into account, the electric universe concept of the Sky Mountain, an electrical phenomenon, and the physical side of Mount Meru need not be mutually exclusive. Imagine, if you will, this golden age. The planets slowly shift into alignment, and enormous bands of electricity begin to discharge between the heavenly bodies. As the alignment of planets synchronizes, the electrical discharge further energizes, becoming a constant, uninterrupted stream. This solid flow of electricity terminates at a central point on the Earth's surface, in this case, what is known as the North Pole. This termination point begins to either draw in all magnetic material from the planet's surface or magnetize the ground directly beneath it. As time passes, this material fuses under the intense heat and pressure, slowly morphing. Now, there finally comes a point where the planets fall out of alignment and the discharges are broken. The electrical current dissipates, and what is left is an enormous upward pointing slag heap, magnetized of course, and the surrounding landmass has formed into 4 symmetrical islands with deep crevices separating them. The water then flows in, and now you are left with a magnetic mountain and 4 evenly spaced islands. Thank you for your time. Make sure you hit that like button and leave your comments down below. This really helps to push these videos to more people that are asking questions.